Bruce Lee had a student who never spoke a single word for 8 years. The day he finally spoke, Bruce Lee's entire life changed forever. Seattle, Washington, September 1960. Rain hammers against the windows of a small martial arts school above a grocery store on University Avenue. The wooden stairs creak with every step. At the top, a simple door, hand-painted sign, Jun Fan Gung Fu, no dragons, no mysticism, just a name. Inside, Bruce Lee teaches a class of 12 students. He's 21 years old, lean, fast, confident. His English carries a slight accent, but his movements speak a universal language. Power, precision, truth. He demonstrates a straight punch, explains the mechanics, the philosophy behind it. His students watch, absorb, practice. In the back corner, against the wall, sits a man, maybe 35 years old. Average height, thin build, wearing simple gray clothes. He doesn't participate, doesn't ask questions, doesn't speak, just watches. Takes notes in a small leather notebook. His eyes follow every movement Bruce makes. Not like a student studying technique, like a scientist observing a phenomenon. Bruce notices him. Hard not to. Everyone else is moving, sweating, training. This man just sits, motionless, silent, watching. After class, Bruce approaches him. "You want to train?" The man looks up, makes eye contact, nods once. "What's your name?" The man pulls out his notebook, writes something, shows it to Bruce. "I don't speak." Bruce reads it, looks at the man's face, sees something there. Not defiance, not rudeness, just silence. A deliberate, chosen silence. "Can you speak?" Physically. The man nods. Can speak. Chooses not to. Why? The man writes, "Not ready yet." Not ready yet. Bruce stands there, confused, intrigued. In his experience, martial arts students talk too much, brag about other styles they've learned, ask if they can fight him, challenge his methods. This man does none of that, just wants to watch. "Okay," Bruce says, "you can watch. No charge, but I don't know how you'll learn without asking questions." The man writes, "I'll learn." And he does. Every single class. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. For weeks, then months, then years. Always in the same spot. Back corner, gray clothes, leather notebook, watching, writing, never speaking, never training, never participating. Bruce's other students notice. They whisper, "Who is that guy? Why doesn't he train? Is he even allowed to be here?" Some think he's creepy, some think he's a spy from another school, some think he's mentally ill. Bruce defends him. He's not hurting anyone. Let him watch. But privately, Bruce wonders, who is this man? What is he writing in that notebook? Why the silence? Why the watching? Bruce starts calling him Shadow, because that's what he is. A shadow in the corner. Present but not present. There but not there. 1962 passes. Shadow still watching. 1963 passes. Shadow still silent. Bruce opens a bigger school. Shadow follows. Same corner. Same notebook. Same silence. Bruce gets married to Linda. Shadow attends the wedding. Sits in the back. Doesn't speak to anyone. Gives them an envelope with cash inside. No card. No message. Just cash. Linda asks Bruce, "Who is that man?" "I don't know," Bruce admits, "but he's been watching me for 4 years. That's not weird to you?" It was. Now it's just part of the school. Like the heavy bag, like the wooden dummy. Shadow is just there. Bruce starts working on the Green Hornet. Gets famous. More students. More attention. Shadow still in his corner. Unaffected by Bruce's fame. Still watching. Still writing. Still silent. Bruce opens another school in Los Angeles. Shadow doesn't follow this time. Bruce realizes he misses him. That silent presence. That constant observer. It was grounding somehow. A reminder that not everyone wants to be Bruce Lee. Some people just want to understand him. But then, 1968, Shadow appears in Los Angeles. Different city, same corner, same notebook, same silence. Bruce actually smiles when he sees him. "Welcome back, Shadow." Shadow nods, opens his notebook. Shows Bruce, "Thank you for letting me watch." Those are the only words Shadow has shared in 7 years.
Bruce injures his back. Doctors say he'll never fight again. Maybe never walk normally. Bruce is devastated, angry, depressed. His identity was being a martial artist. Without that, who is he?
He stops teaching, stays home. Linda tries to help, but he pushes her away. His students call, but he doesn't answer. Bruce Lee is broken, not just physically, spiritually. One evening, there's a knock on the door. Linda opens it. Shadow stands there. First time he's ever come to their house. Bruce isn't seeing anyone, Linda says gently. Shadow pulls out his notebook. Writes, I know, but I need to see him. Something in Shadow's eyes makes Linda let him in. Shadow walks to the bedroom where Bruce lies on his back staring at the ceiling. Shadow sits in the chair beside the bed, doesn't say anything, just sits, silent, like he always has. Bruce glances at him. Come to watch me die, Shadow? Shadow doesn't react, just pulls out his notebook, writes for a long time, then shows it to Bruce. I've watched you for 8 years. I've seen you teach hundreds of people. Fast students, strong students, talented students, but none of them understood what I understood. You were never the best because you were fast or strong. You were the best because you were willing to be weak. Every technique you showed its weakness first. Every principle you taught, you questioned it first. You didn't teach people to be like you taught them to find themselves. That's why you're a master. Not because you can fight, because you can think. Bruce reads it again. Something in those words penetrates the depression. But I can't fight anymore, Bruce says. Shadow writes, you never needed to. Fighting was just how you expressed the idea. The idea is still there. The idea is what mattered, not the expression. Bruce sits up slightly, winces from the pain, but pushes through it. Who are you, he asks. Why have you been watching me for 8 years? Why don't you speak? Shadow looks at Bruce for a long moment, then does something he's never done. He speaks. His voice is rough, unused, like a machine that hasn't run in years. My name is Robert McKinney. I'm a veteran, Vietnam, 1961 to 1963. I was a medic. I saw men die every day. Young men, good men. I tried to save them, but I couldn't. I came home and I couldn't speak anymore. Not because I was injured, because I had nothing worth saying. All words felt empty, meaningless, until I saw you teach. You said something in that first class I attended. You said, martial arts is not about fighting. It's about understanding yourself. And I realized that's what I needed, not to fight, to understand. So I watched for 8 years, and I learned, not techniques, understanding. You gave me a reason to be alive again. You didn't know it. You never spoke to me beyond basic acknowledgement, but you saved my life just by being who you are, teaching what you teach. Bruce stares at him. Tears form in his eyes. In 8 years, Shadow Robert never asked for anything, never demanded attention, never tried to prove himself, just watched, learned, grew, silently. And now? Bruce asks. Now that I can't teach anymore. Robert's answer changes everything. Now you teach differently. You write. You think. You share ideas. Your body was just one tool. You have others. The injury didn't take away your purpose. It just changed how you express it. I learned that from you. When I lost my voice, I didn't lose my ability to understand. I just changed how I expressed it. You taught me that. Now I'm teaching you. Bruce Lee cries, not from pain, from realization. This man, this silent observer, understood him better than anyone, better than his students who hung on every word, better than his colleagues who debated his methods, better than the media who wanted to make him a star. Robert understood the core, the essence, the why behind the what. Thank you, Bruce whispers. Robert writes in his notebook one more time, shows it to Bruce. No, thank you for letting me watch. For 8 years, you gave me a reason to live. Now I'm giving you a reason to continue. Robert stands, walks to the door, turns back. Will you speak again? Bruce asks. Robert smiles. When I have something worth saying. He leaves. Bruce never sees him again. But that conversation becomes the turning point. Bruce starts writing, developing his philosophy, training differently, teaching through ideas instead of just technique. The injury that should have ended his career becomes the catalyst for his greatest contribution, not as a fighter, as a philosopher. Years later, in 1973, Bruce Lee dies. The funeral is massive. Thousands attend. Celebrities, students, fans, media. In the back, against the wall, stands a man in gray clothes. He doesn't speak to anyone, doesn't approach the casket, just stands there, watching. One last time. Linda sees him, recognizes him, walks over. Robert? He nods, pulls out an old leather notebook. The same one from Linda's eyes water. Did you understand? Robert closes the notebook, speaks, his voice stronger now, used more in recent years. Buse doily up. Bruce taught me that silence can be as powerful as words, that observation can be as valuable as participation, that understanding yourself is more important than proving yourself. He saved my life without knowing it, and when he needed saving, I was able to return the gift. He talked about you, Linda says, after you visited him that day. He said you were the best student he ever had, because you asked nothing and learned everything. Robert smiles. I learned what he really taught. Not techniques, not fighting, not even martial arts. He taught how to be human after you've lost yourself, how to find purpose after trauma, how to transform pain into understanding. That's what I needed. That's what he gave me, and that's what I'll carry for the rest of my life. Robert walks away, disappears into the crowd. Linda never sees him again, but she tells the story to Brandon, to Shannon, to students, to anyone who asks about Bruce's impact. Your father had thousands of students, she tells them, but the one who understood him best never said a word for 8 years, because sometimes the deepest learning happens in silence. Sometimes the best students are the ones who don't ask questions. They just watch, listen, understand, and when the time comes when their teacher needs them most, they speak the one truth that changes everything. Brandon asks, "What was that truth, Mom?" Linda smiles. That your father's greatness wasn't in his fighting, it was in his thinking. Robert saw that when everyone else was distracted by the kicks and punches. He saw the man behind the legend, and he helped your father see it too, when your father needed it most. Decades later, in 1995, a package arrives at Linda's house. No return address. Inside is a leather notebook, the same one, every page filled with observations about Bruce, his teaching methods, his philosophy, his growth as a person. 8 years of detailed notes. And on the last page, dated July 1973, one final entry. Bruce Lee died today. The world lost a martial artist. I lost the man who taught me to live again. He never knew how much he meant to me. He never knew that watching him teach was my therapy, my recovery, my salvation. But maybe that's the point. The greatest teachers don't need to know their impact. They just need to be authentic. Bruce was authentic, and that authenticity saved me. I'm speaking again now, living again, teaching others what Bruce taught me. His silence after injury taught me that silence isn't weakness, it's preparation. My silence for 8 years wasn't hiding, it was learning. Bruce showed me that, and now I show others. The cycle continues. The student becomes the teacher. The watcher becomes the guide. Thank you, Bruce, for everything, for nothing, for just being you. Mine is Robert McKinney. Linda cries reading it. Realizes that Bruce's impact wasn't just in the famous students. Not just in the movies, not just in the philosophy books. It was in the silent man in the corner, the one nobody noticed, the one who asked nothing and received everything. That's the real legacy, not the legend. The lives quietly changed, the people who learned by watching, the students who never spoke but understood everything. Bruce Lee had a student who was silent for 8 years, and when he finally spoke, he revealed a truth that Bruce needed to hear, that teaching isn't about what you say, it's about what you are. And Bruce Lee was authentic, broken, human, real, and that realness saved a silent veteran who had lost his voice and his purpose. The greatest lesson Bruce Lee ever taught wasn't a technique, it was permission. Permission to be broken, permission to heal slowly, permission to learn silently, permission to find yourself in the watching, not the doing. Robert McKinney learned that. And when Bruce needed to learn it too, Robert spoke, once, for 5 minutes, and changed the trajectory of Bruce Lee's final years. That's power, not in the fists. In the words saved for when they matter most. In the silence that teaches more than noise. In the watching that understands more than participation. Bruce Lee taught martial arts, but Robert McKinney taught Bruce Lee. And that's the story nobody knows. Until now. The silent student, the watcher in the corner, the man who spoke once and changed everything.